guys.
Good morning, Facebook.
So glad to have you with us today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I'm Kate.
Shay. Big shout out to Rufus. Rufus is not with us today, unfortunately. He's on the mine site. So shout out to Rufus and the boys at working on the mines, and come and play with Kate and Shay. So
yeah.
Here we go.
So we're here for an hour. We're here from 11:30 till 12:30. And if you would like to ask us a question, you can go to the Soul Space Radio Facebook page and send us a private message or comment on our on this video, or you can call in via the Blog Talk Radio site.
Fantastic, that's wonderful. So guys, just for our highest well-being for all of us, I'd just like to read out the following disclaimer. All rights are reserved. No part of this broadcast may be reproduced or transmitted in any form or by any electronic or mechanical means without the presenter's written permission. The presenters do not dispense medical advice or prescribe the use of any technique as a form of treatment for physical, emotional or medical problems. The intent of the presenters is to only offer information of a general nature to help you in your quest for emotional and spiritual well-being. Thanks, guys. Well,
all right,
here we go.
So we'll see if we have
a caller.
Any callers. So it looks like we do have one on the switchboard. Is there anything you'd like to say before we start, Shay? Or any, I don't know.
Well, I don't.
Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom.
Yes, or something that you've learned this week.
Look, this week's been an interesting week, I think. I have been pretty much not sort of, I don't really keep up to date. I don't watch a lot of TV or anything like that. So the whole royal wedding caught me by surprise, Kate. It caught me by surprise. And people were talking about it because it was live in Australia on Saturday night. And I hadn't even really been aware of it. And then I went to a birthday party yesterday for one of my son's friends. And while I was there, everyone was talking about how lovely she looked and how much in love they were. And I think that's really cool because we often think about what the worst things, we often focus on what we don't want as opposed to what we do want. It was just lovely to see the raw essence of pure love, which is, I think we're all, the commonality between all of us is that we all want love, and that love makes the universe go round. So I just loved, I actually watched the highlights. I love the outfits, by the way. I loved the way that they looked and how they looked into each other's eyes. And I think it was a real joy and a pleasure and a blessing to be able to share that moment with them. So I thank them for letting us in on that journey. And it was cool. It kind of brought a whole lot of people together, brought nations together. I really, yeah. How could you not love love? It's such a cool thing. What about you, Kate? What are your thoughts?
I think it's such a beautiful thing when you can find someone to feel that love for. But I also know that it's not, love isn't just for those that are in a relationship. It's not like you're missing out. I mean, it's lovely, but it's not that you're missing out just because you don't have a partner or you're not with someone. That love that you can feel for another is there for you to feel at any time. And I think the most important relationship we have is the one with ourselves.
Yeah.
First and foremost, because even though we're never alone, we spend every waking and sleeping hour with ourselves. So it's so important to have that loving relationship with ourselves. And yeah, I think that is the secret to a happy life. I think that's all.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Kate. I would think that the love for yourself is also reflected in my personal experience, adding on from what Kate's saying, is the love for myself is really expanded in the love that I have for what I perceive as source. So to me, that is divine unconditional love. So I guess that's an extension of yourself anyway. But I think it's really important to have a love relationship with that as well, because it's expressing love through each and every one of us every minute of the day. So so that's just my add-on from that, but that's beautiful words, lovely words.
I just think it is important I think a lot of people wait to feel love or to believe that they're lovable until they have someone in their life that tells them that they love them. But I know in my experience, you can have someone say that they love you and really mean it, and you still not believe it.
Yeah.
And you still not feel it, because you will only know what it feels like until you felt it for yourself.
Exactly.
I believe.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a feeling thing, and it certainly doesn't stop you from feeling love for people that you're not in a relationship with.
No,
either.
absolutely not.
You know, I think we share love for animals, and, you know, loving things around us is really important. It's really an open heart, isn't it? It's really about having an open heart in this life and knowing, hey, look, we can all be vulnerable.
I was just going to say vulnerability is...
Yeah, just not closing off,
yes.
guys, because look, you can get really hurt. There's no denying that. But I think the worst thing you can do is close yourself off from life. So I think if you can be brave enough to have your heart broken, and I think probably most of us have, and then continue on and still give love to yourself and to others, what a beautiful world that we live in.
And adding on to that, I think that's why it's so important to love ourselves, because love with other people might come and go, and people die, even, you know, like family and friends, and that doesn't mean that love has gone, but yeah, I believe that's why it's just so important to not rely on things outside of yourself for that feeling of love. So it's but in my experience, it's something that I've really had to consciously work on every day, because we are generally not encouraged to love ourselves. We're encouraged really in today's society to be told that we'll only be loved when and if this or that, not as we are in this moment. And it's taken me a lot of filtering and questioning.
And I think, moving on from that, Pat, I think what you're talking about is unconditional love, because I think a lot of the commercialised love is conditional. And that's, you know,
that's not really love.
That's not really love.
No.
So it is unconditional love, like the love that you would feel for a child or an animal or anything like that, a sunset. It's a pure positive experience. And that's the love that we should, you know, ideally come to feeling for ourselves. And I guess it's about taking time out to honour to honour yourself and have some fun and joy and do all those expansive things that, you know, put yourself first, which is another thing that I don't think we do a lot. Love, what a great topic.
Yeah.
Come and join us and talk to us about, I'm sure there's some wonderful stories of love out there that you have. I have a good one, actually. I do have a good one. I very much love my husband. I'm very lucky. He's a good man. So I'm very blessed. But I certainly went through my heartaches and struggles. And it's taken me, actually, ironically, a lot longer to love myself than it took me to love my husband. So there you go. Isn't that ironic?
Can I ask you how you started the journey to that?
To
loving yourself?
Loving myself?
Like, did it take a whole lot of things that were the opposite to love for you to get to that point, or like? Do you know what I think? I think it took some traumatic. I think what had happened to me is that in my personal experience, when I was younger, I expressed a lot of love, and then I learned that I kind of closed myself off because it really hurt. So I kind of created walls, I guess is the best way to say it, and kind of numbed myself from feeling too much. And I think the beautiful thing about traumatic events is that they also cleanse you as much as high vibrational positive events do. So I think for me, I had some experiences that I needed to learn from, and some of those weren't great.
But what they did is it was that contrast that led me to where I am. And actually just, for me, it was an internal journey. And I think everybody's journey is really different. And meditation because meditation was probably the first time I'd really actually taken time out to do something for myself. And in that experience and connecting with something bigger than myself, I think it just evolved is probably the best way to say it. Yeah.
Did you have any, blocks come up against that? Like, was there resistance to that?
Absolutely. I think for me, and I have noticed this commonality with other people when they talk about their stories, we carry a lot of emotional blocks around us. So we learn contrast and then we kind of respond to those emotionally. And then the soul gets compressed within around sort of, let's put it visually. Literally, I would say it's like barbed wire wrapped around you, and it's emotional blocks. It's external beliefs. It can be from I think we learn a lot from childhood. And I don't think there's any, there might not even be a mean intent. It might be a good intent. But there's a whole lot of experiences that lead you to believe that you're not worthy enough.
Yeah.
And in doing so, it sort of erodes your confidence and your love in yourself. So I spent many years in murky water, just kind of living day to day without really sort of maybe pretending a lot, to be honest. And then when I took the time out to meditate, when I I actually sat down and did a lot of limiting beliefs and looking at my limiting beliefs, taking responsibility for what I've created, because I think that's really important. I took responsibility for the situations that I had been in and what I had done to myself. And I treated myself pretty appallingly from time to time. Drinking was a big thing for me.
Okay.
And so
actually... Was that a way to...
I think...
not feel? Or
absolutely. I think that was definitely escapism.
Yeah.
From a lot of... Yeah, just from a lot of pain, I think, and numbness. It was just kind of about numbing myself.
But in the drinking, you were actually causing more pain.
Absolutely,
because you were leaving yourself over and over. Yeah.
Exactly, and then you ironically put yourself in even more vulnerable positions because you really have no sense in that state.
Yeah.
So it was really consciously sort of. I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm not happy. And I can't, it's kind of like you can't keep doing the same thing expecting different results.
Absolutely.
It's just like, okay, what's the problem here? It could be to do with me.
I'm the main.
It could be me, And, that I went through that whole victim thing. It was everybody else's fault but mine. Until I finally had to kind of, and this is the beauty about playing with the soul and playing with, I call it the energy source, God, whatever the higher intelligence or the higher being may be for you. I believe that it pulls everything away until you do look within, because you won't find any answers externally. It's the only way. And so when you look within, take responsibility, it softens. It softens that emotional charge sitting around your heart. And in doing so, it then lets in the light. And that's what happened to me. And then your feelings actually expand, both good and bad. And then that's the cleansing. And I think everyone, there is that commonality in stories when you hear about spiritual people or people awakening to sixth sense or those sorts of things, is that they do go through atypically a period of cleansing. Because in the cleansing, we lighten our frequency, we lighten our vibration, and then we can attract that light and all that good stuff to us. We raise our frequency accordingly.
It can also be talking about like that murky water when you're going through that transition. If you've spent years and years not trusting yourself, not listening to yourself or being able to hear yourself, it's like when you finally do and you've relied on outside influences or opinions or direction for so long, it can feel very, I know for me, I felt very lost.
Yeah.
for a long time. Like I decided not to listen to what was outside of me, and I went to go and listen to myself, and I was like, I can't even hear you because, you know, I didn't. But the thing is, it's about feeling. And like you, I shut myself off from feeling for so long. It was like, I don't even, how do I do this? Or what is this? Yeah, so it did require me to just sit with myself over and over again, and trust that I was doing it out of a place of love for myself, and that I would be supported.
Yeah.
And I have been. So
yeah, that's lovely, Kate. And I think what's really beautiful about what you just said is that feelings lead.
Yeah.
It's a feelings universe.
Absolutely.
So the most important things are actually intangible. And that's really interesting. So feelings lead our experiences.
Gut feeling is not just I mean, that saying's probably been around for, I don't even know how long.
Yeah.
But it's a thing, and we all know it's a thing. Yeah. Like, we all have those feelings about things where we go, oh, I knew that was going to happen, or I knew I shouldn't have done that. We need to listen to those more, or all the time. And in the beginning, it can take real trust, because sometimes we can get a feeling about something and logically it may not make sense, or we may have people around us say, oh, well, why are you doing that, or that's stupid or not right or whatever. So yeah, it can take some real trust in the beginning to listen to them, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, gut feelings are a real thing, and we definitely need to, or should be, listening to them more.
Yeah, and the more that you connect, the more wider you sort of get open to intuition. It's really what we should be leading with. What was really interesting, Kate, I'd like to get your feedback on this, is that when I was on the motorway yesterday, and we are very aware of this, we're very aware of this in the corporate sector as well, actually, more than we would perceive, and they had a sign on the motorway saying, motorcyclists, use your sixth sense to stay aware.
I
thought that was beautiful. I was
seen that.
I spend a lot of my time demystifying psychics or intuitive capabilities, because it's really interesting to me in this dynamic in this age that some part of society is still like, well, you know, is that a thing? Is that a reality? And then you've got,
and
like,
is it only motorcyclists that have it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, hello. It's kind of like, I found that really interesting, because that's like a major statement with the Department of Transport. And,
on a main road. So we know these things. Like, we've known them since forever.
Yeah.
But there are a myriad of reasons why we've been told not to listen to our sixth sense, and why they don't exist, and haven't been taught about them in school or whatever. But yeah, we know that they're there, and now we have the government telling us to, motorcyclists specifically, to bloody use it.
Yeah.
So.
And this is in Australia, by the way, but I'm sure the same thing happens in America. I think there's a lot of intuitive practice in America, so I wouldn't be surprised. It's really interesting, really interesting.
Yeah. Definitely a thing.
I'm
glad you brought that up.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's really interesting.
Well, it kind of, when I saw it, I didn't know how to feel about it. But now that you say that, it's like, it's actually really...
I think it was so positive, Kate.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, really, like Kate said before, we forget, or we've just kind of forgotten. And realistically, what I do in terms of intuitive consulting is just help people remember.
Yeah.
I really just have it's a latent human ability, and by that I mean every single person on this planet has the capability of using intuition to better their lives.
Absolutely.
You know, you will all have stories where you didn't listen to that little voice inside you, to your regret. So I think it's really important to just respect it, acknowledge it, and join us in talking about this, because I'm sure there's some experiences out there that you can share where you've heard you've had intuitive guidance and it's led you onto something better, or you didn't listen to it and you wish you had, or join us, guys. It would be really cool to hear what you have to say.
It's definitely something just, I know there's no point in arguing with what the world is like at the moment. There's just not, because it is, and it's meant to be this way. But imagine how different it would be if this is what we were taught.
Yeah.
You know, like if this is what was seen as an important human skill to develop in our lives.
Yeah.
And that it could help us more than anything else. But we place so much importance on other things.
Yeah.
Things that are just, yeah.
And really it's a balance in all things. So we emphasise logic, but to the detriment of anything else. So we're so adamant about logic that we use logic to counter arguments about intuition. It's just you know, not obviously there's an issue with that.
Yeah.
So you know, that's the beauty about Kate, Rufus and I, is that we're here to help you in terms of connecting with your intuition and discussing your insights and
it's not about we, as much as we love to give our own personal experiences and what you would, I guess, call advice, ultimately it's about, you already know the answers. You do, you already know.
Absolutely.
It's just been drowned. It's just been drowned out with so many thoughts and beliefs and outside noise that it can be. I know it can be really difficult to listen to that. As I was saying before, like listen to that inner knowing or feeling. If you maybe you've never. I mean, it's always there. It never goes anywhere. It's not like you have to go and find it, but if you've never really had the opportunity to connect with it, or if you're not really aware of it, then sometimes you just need a bit of a push in the right direction, or a seed to be planted, or which is what we're here to do.
And we all have, you know, I've had people that have helped me get to this stage. You know, I think that, as Kate said before, we're effectively separated from our intuitive selves. And then the journey back to that is...
I didn't want to be seen. Because I believed that who I was, why would anyone want to see me? Why would anyone want to spend time with me? And that's honestly how I felt. And I put up so many walls, and I just retreated because I felt safer that way. I honestly felt like I was safer just in my own space. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, I got sick of it. Like I got sick of myself, and I knew that there was more to life, and I knew what, at that point, I'd known what love had felt like. But I'd been hurt, so I didn't want to feel that again. So yeah, I put up a lot of walls. But anyway, recently I've just really discovered that connecting with people and just like real connection, you know, and it doesn't even have to be with someone that I know very well, but just allowing someone to fully see me and for me to fully see them is one of the most beautiful things in the world, and hopefully allowing people to feel that way, because there's no accidents or mistakes in the way that you are in the world. It's just not.
No.
That you are who you're meant to be, and that needs to be seen. We've just believed something different for so long. So that definitely brings me joy, but it definitely took me to really bring down the walls and be seen, and that in the beginning, that was really, I guess, challenging and a bit unnerving, because I was like, well, what are people going to think if they see me? But then I started to see myself more, and then I became more comfortable, if that makes sense, with doing that.
So sometimes you've just got to open the door, shine a little light, which is hopefully what we're doing here, and then you can take the next step. because then you can know, well, look, if they've done it, I can, because we all can.
Yeah.
And
it's
easier, but we spend all our life in fear and hold ourselves back from fear of what? Fear of like the best thing that could happen to you.
I know.
It's just crazy. It's crazy. But Kate, that was beautiful. That was really awesome. It's really interesting to me how spiritual, I think a lot of souls that are drawn to work for service or to do stuff, to do spiritual practice and service are quite sensitive and have this, they all have a similar experience where they do cut themselves off or feel really isolated because they're kind of closed down. And when I listen to what Kate had to say, I mean, I think we all feel the emotion in that, and it's like we've done it to ourselves when she said, you know, she really didn't feel the worthiness in herself. And my heart is like breaking for her, but yet I've done the same thing to myself. So we can hear other people say that and go, how could you do that? How could you get to that place? And yet we're all doing that or have done that to ourselves.
And the sad thing is though, and I think that's what, if I can speak for you, Shay, what we're trying to do here is people just do it unconsciously now. We don't even realise that we're doing it. We've decided that that's how life is. Like, it's like we've accepted that that's, like you were saying in the beginning, we automatically assume the worst.
Exactly.
Or turn to the negative. It's just how we've been programmed, and
yeah, it's
just crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, God. Yeah, why are we not celebrating life? Why are we not doing that? Like 99, I can pretty much guarantee that you'll get out of bed in the morning, you'll get your have a shower, cup of coffee, get in the car, go to work, and you'll reach work. You'll reach work. You won't get taken up by, you know, anything, or, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're going to reach work. You won't have a flat tire. You might have a flat tire maybe once in a year, maybe.
Can I just butt in?
Yeah, you can.
There's a saying that a Buddhist monk says, even a flat tire is part of the journey as well. As in, it's about total accept. This is not
true.
What we're trying to do here is not create this perfect, problem-free, never feeling maybe sadness or any kind of feelings. It's about accepting that all as part of it, but realizing that there's far more to celebrate than
And I think that no, Kate, that was fantastic. I'm really glad you brought that point, because I think it leads on to a really interesting thing that I'd like to say about judgment and criticism. Because what we do is we perceive a situation, and we usually, because we've been led to believe this in terms of the way that we've been educated or our personal experience, presume that to be bad. But let's just say that you had a flat tire and somebody then helped you put the tire on, but in the time that you had that flat tire, it saved you from a mass traffic pile up 5 minutes down the road. So what's really interesting to me is how we perceive events happening to us.
And it's all about perception.
It is all about perception. And
Everything.
What we do is we judge and we criticize ourselves. Now, we judge and criticize ourselves
that's a big topic.
so much worse than we will judge and criticize anybody else.
Yeah.
And so, can we, wouldn't it be cool to lighten up just a little? And, you know, I don't know, we talked about love before, and just go, you know what? It is cool. There's no judgment. Don't judge yourself for judging either. Just, you know.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think it's natural for. I mean, I don't really know how true this is, but it's just how our mind automatically kind of. I'm not saying it always has. I mean, we do judge. We even judge.
We do.
It doesn't even have to be in a bad way. Judgment could be, I don't know, something neutral. It doesn't have to be like a criticism as such. So it's what we do. We look at something and we decide how we feel about it or what we think about it based on our filters. But I do believe if we are in a complete place of love for ourselves, and that's what we believe in, our judgments will then be filtered through that.
Yeah. And I think perhaps the whole point about raised consciousness and ideally evolving your consciousness is ideally, I think, to get to a point where you see beyond all the illusions effectively. So regardless of any situation, when you see a person, instead of judging them, you see their pure divine presence within, which is their soul, which is effectively, I've had the pleasure of experiencing that through the energy. I've naturally done it myself. It's quite an evolutionary step for me. I'm still getting there, small steps. But when the energy reveals, in my readings, when the energy comes through and sort of pushes me to the side and sort of communicates with the higher self, with the soul, it is a very beautiful thing. And there is everything whole and perfect in that system already. There is nothing that it needs, nor it's whole and complete within itself. Yeah. So that's really interesting to me. So
yeah, that's another thing that's caused us so much suffering, is that we need to fix and change ourselves.
That's exactly it.
And if there's so much judgment behind that, you're actually judging who you are.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much pain and suffering behind believing that we need
absolutely.
To
and so pragmatically, because you're like, okay, well that's great. How do I get from there to there? So some practical steps.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's talk about some practical steps. One of the things I think goes back to joy. Because if you can find something, even a little thing to do every day that you really love doing. Look, I like going to the movies, which I did with my mum. Fun. It was light-hearted fun, and it was joy and superheroes, and who doesn't love superheroes? And which I think are aspects of ourselves anyway. And so I love that. Taking a bit of time out, not having to feel I'm a very go, do it now, do it kind of driven person. And actually, you know, in the past, I just haven't kind of like let it go, be in the flow. I found that quite a difficult thing to do. So that's one of the, like just those little tiny things.
Adding to that about being in the flow, so I know, like, I've lived from a space for a while now. It's what I like to call like the masculine energy, which is action and going and forcing and trying to make things happen and constantly, I guess, worrying about doing things and how they're going to work out, and that that actually takes the joy.
It does.
Out of life, when we feel like we have to do something instead of being moved from a place of this feels really good for me.
Yeah, because feel the friction in that.
Yeah.
Feel the push.
Yeah.
That's real. I truly believe that is not the normal state of life.
No, because underneath that is a belief that we aren't supported.
That's correct.
And that we have to earn our right to be here and to feel things like joy. Yeah. When it is actually, it's our natural state, and it's why we've been put here.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, so find the fun, find the love. I'm purely of the belief, as Kate said before, that joy and fun will lead us to all good things, including remuneration.
Yeah.
So,
but a lot of people feel guilty about doing things that give them joy.
When Kate says that, you can go, that is just so, like, you can hear the illusion in that. Yeah. You can understand that where is the truth in those statements? Yeah. That's not a truth, nor would you want that a reality for yourself. Yeah. So, you know, guys, look at that and question that sort of stuff, because that's limiting beliefs and they will continue to hold you back. So look at it. Yeah. Don't judge, but go, okay, well, perhaps that
just be curious.
Be
curious. And you have a right to be curious. Anything that anyone tells you outside of yourself, you have a right to question it and be curious. Yeah. It doesn't matter who it is, what their status is. I mean, that's a load of bullshit anyway. I think we're all equal. Yeah. But you have a right to question absolutely everything that comes into your awareness. Yeah. And that's where we really get to start. We are forced to listen to ourselves and what we truly believe. So we have a call out on the switchboard, which we will go to. Fantastic. So the number is ending in 4252. Hello, who are we speaking with?
Hello, my name is Catherine. I was just listening. I don't really have a question.
Oh,
Oh,
hi.
okay,
Hi,
Catherine.
Catherine.
Thank you for listening. That's great.
Is there anything you would like to, while you're
While you're
happy
here,
with
Catherine, we'd love to get your feedback. Is there anything that you'd like to say about what we've spoken about?
I find it interesting. I was just listening.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful that you're offering this forum. Yeah.
So,
Oh, cool.
is there, it's fine if there's not, but is there anything in your life right now that you're maybe struggling with or not sure about,
Or is there anything fun that you'd like to tell us about?
I don't know, maybe with work, if they're coming together better, it feels that way.
Oh.
So what is it that you do, Catherine?
I do a little bit of everything artistic, dance, write, act,
Okay.
Oh, wow.
some music.
Okay.
So you're a very creative soul.
Yeah.
And so do you feel, has that something that you've always done, or was that maybe something that you had to, I know for a lot of people are doing work that they feel they have to do, and they're not really doing what they really want to do or what brings them joy, out of fear of maybe not making enough money.
Scarcity and lack and...
Did you ever feel that way about what you do, Catherine? I'd just be interested to know.
A little bit. I did do something totally different after college. But yeah, then I just needed a change. Yeah, I just knew it wasn't, not that it was bad, but it just became, monotonous.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted something different, and this is what I was always drawn to.
Okay.
And so how did you...
Yeah, definitely.
How did you get there, Catherine? Like, what was so you knew what you wanted to do. Was it hard to sort of turn you back on a regular wage and then move into what you wanted to do, or you just knew that you had to do it?
Yeah, I just knew I had to do it.
Wow,
That's
so...
so...
Yeah.
Congratulations! That is fantastic. That's so
Oh,
brave.
thank you.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
it really is, and I think it's so, even though you don't specifically have a question, I think it is just so nice to hear someone say that they just, and this is what we were talking about before, intuition, you just knew that you had to do it, and your other job was becoming monotonous, and you knew that there had to be something else.
Yeah.
And so you just went and did it.
Yeah.
And Catherine, there are so many people stuck in jobs and relationships and situations that don't bring them joy, but they're too scared to take that leap.
Next step, yeah.
To do what brings them joy. So I think that's really brave, and I think you should just keep doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, Catherine. I just like to say thank you first of all for listening and talking to us today, because your story is really inspirational.
Yeah.
Because like Kate said, so many people want to do the same thing. They want to follow their passion, they want to follow their joy, but they're so fearful of letting go, and not realizing that the universe is there to support them. And so I think that is absolutely inspirational. So I thank you. I really thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you as well. Yes, I believe God will always provide,
Yeah.
And just
That's beautiful.
step out in faith and do what you love. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Catherine.
much.
And please, if you have a question, I don't know, in the coming weeks, please
Please,
call us
come back.
and keep listening.
And if you haven't experienced Catherine and you think that you could communicate it perhaps a little bit better than Kate, Rufus and I have, we'd love to have you back on if a listener calls in and you think that you could add some added value to help that person. By all means, please come back. Fantastic.
Thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us
Thank
today,
you.
Catherine.
Thank you, ladies. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Oh, it's so lovely to hear someone just be like, yeah, I just knew the monotonous feeling wasn't for me and I just knew I had to do something else, and so I did. And I know that can be scary for a lot of people depending on your situation, but I think the common denominator there is it takes a leap of faith.
It absolutely does.
It takes trusting your feeling, even if it doesn't seem logical, and knowing that, whatever happens, it'll all come out in the wash anyway. And
it's taking that step into faith, guys, and just, do it. Just do it. Because, okay, it might not be all rainbows and skittles for the first moment. And you might have to have supplementary incomes, because Kate and I, that's what we had to do to follow our passion.
Yeah.
But do you know what? You've just got to do it, because it's a purpose thing. You're bigger than the picture.
And I often ask myself this question, do I want to be right before I die, which is something that is going to happen for all of us. We just don't remember that often enough.
No.
What do I want to have gone, oh, damn, I wish I'd done that.
Yeah.
Because now it doesn't matter. Now it actually doesn't matter how it would have turned out. I wish I had just tried.
Yeah.
I wish I had just given it a go. So, thank you, Catherine.
Thank you so much, Catherine. It was a joy.
Okay, so the next caller, the area code is ending in 8312. Hello. Who are you speaking with? Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Thanks for taking my call.
No worries.
No worries.
Who are we talking with? What's your name?
My name is Dion.
Dion, can I just ask your date of birth, please?
It's 12/5/73.
So is that the 5th of December?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Is that the 5th of December?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Here in Australia, we
do
do it the other way around. So I just wanted to
we need to check.
Yeah. So Dion, how can we help you today?
I just want to see, I know with the transit changing in my sign and stuff everybody's sign, if you see the love relationship part of my life opening up at all.
Okay.
I can probably communicate with you there on that one. Sorry, it's Shay here. So I'm an intuitive psychic. That's what I've been doing. I hear it in your voice, actually. I do hear it. To get a little bit more comprehension though, can I ask you, Deanne, to do something with me? Can I ask you to just, are you sitting down at the moment?
I can.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm lovely at moving people physically. Can I ask you to just sit down, because what I'd like to do, if you're willing to do it, is to do 3 deep breaths of white light, just connect from the top of your head chakra down into your heart, breathe out of the heart. And the reason that I ask people to do this is because then that relaxes you, and I'll do it with you, and it'll relax me, and then I'll ask permission to talk to your soul, and perhaps we can kind of see a little bit more of a picture for you if you like. Initially, intuitively though, yes, that was my first response. So let's, if you don't mind, are you happy to do that, Deanne?
I'm sitting down.
Okay, fantastic.
And
so,
I can blend in with whatever it is that you...
Okay, wonderful. So if we can just breathe in from the top of the head, bright white light down into your heart and just expand it out. So, and then breathe out through the heart. So 1.
Okay.
Okay. 2. And 3. And then just breathe that. See that white light just radiate right out through your whole body. That's beautiful. In fact, all the listeners could do this if they wanted to, because it's actually a really good relaxation exercise. So have I got permission to talk to your soul, Deanne?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing I'm seeing is I'm seeing a bus and transportation. So I have a feeling that's linked to meeting someone on a bus route or transportation to and from work. So there seems to be some sort of connection there that you'll make. I don't know, it's not going to be a full-on love at first sight, although there'll be a chemistry connection, but it will build up from a friendship basis, which is always, I think, a fantastic thing anyway. So does that resonate with you?
Did you say meeting someone to and from work? Well, I work from home.
You work from home, okay.
But I do walk a lot. Like, I take a lot of, but here's the thing though, I do take a lot of breaks because I do work from home. And in order for me not to go crazy, I walk like many, many, many times a day. So I can always meet somebody like on break.
Well, that's quite possible. I saw a bus. It's quite possible that you could be walking past a bus stop, but I saw a bus. I'm not too sure what the relevance is of that, but I do believe that you're going to meet somebody. It's going to be on a friendship basis, and if that's in a walking situation, that's great. So I would suggest keep taking your breaks. Do you walk with other people, or you're just walking by yourself?
No, I walk by myself with my dog.
Can I just ask, Deanne, have you felt, do you feel quite alone a lot of the time? Like, do you feel...
All the time.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just looking at your birth date, and you are there's a numerology system that we use, and you're a one soul. And people that have ones in their birthdays often feel quite alone and disconnected. So, and that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, or that you are alone, or that you are disconnected. That's not what I'm saying. But you can often feel that way. So I think it's really, and maybe this is why you walk so much, it's really important for you to connect with the earth and with nature. It's really, really important for you. And that is definitely a remedy for you to not feel alone. I also just wanted to ask you what your intention was behind wanting a relationship. Like, are you... do you just feel that you're ready, or why is it that you're ready or asking about a relationship at the moment?
Okay, so I went through like a period of a lot of loss in the last couple of years.
Okay.
And I used to have, yes, I've always been independent, yes, I've always been by myself, but now I don't have any family members left. And so now I'm really feeling like I would like to manifest a family of my own.
Okay.
And I'm kind of getting older now, so I'm not even sure if kids are an option for me. But just the sense of family, because I'm literally without family. I know I can make family from friends, but it's still not the same. So maybe I'm just a late bloomer. But I certainly don't want to go through the rest of my life just always being by myself.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't want to be like that, you know?
Yeah.
There should be somebody I can at least create some kind of family with.
Absolutely.
No, and I think the really interesting thing is that I truly believe that you will. And I'll put it this way. You said an interesting word, manifest. So you're very clear on your intention. You've put it out there. So intention, it's an intentional universe. So there's an element to you that's been communicating quite clearly for some time about wanting this. Because you're very clear in your intent. So I can tell that you've been communicating with the energy. You may not be aware of it, but your soul has been communicating with the energy about wanting this relationship or wanting this family connection. There's no doubt that it will come. There's a sense that, yes, you have been through some periods of trauma and loss, but you emotionally, there's no like real carryover from, you've dealt with that emotionally, and there's now a readiness within you to move forward. So I think that's a really good thing. So all I can intuitively sense is that it sounds like continue on with your walks. And I think you'll probably know who this person is, because I think they'll respond to the dog really well. And I don't mean that in a silly way. I mean that they'll respond to the dog, and you'll intuitively know that that's someone that you'd want in your life, because they're, caring about animals. I think that's quite important to you. So I have a really strong sense that it's going to be great for you. You've put it out there. You've got a clear intention. I'm not sensing that there's any major separation issues from holding yourself back from what you want. I think you're all good to go. Give yourself permission to make friends and socialize. All I can do is, other than walking, do you have any other fun things that you'd like to do that perhaps you could do more of? I don't know what they have in your local community, but do you have outings where you could go to socialize, to meet people, like dances, or can you group walking or anything like that?
Okay. I just don't want to go like another decade with being by myself. That's all.
I think so. I absolutely agree with Shay. I definitely feel like there's a real desire there for you to want to share your life with someone, and it's not coming from a place of
it's empowered.
Yeah, it feels good. I think it's just really important for you to actually believe and trust that you aren't alone, and that you won't be, and that you never are. I just feel like there might be a little bit of an underlying fear around being alone and believing that maybe that's what's going to happen for you. So yeah, really, I guess being aware of that fear, and coming from your intention of why you want to be with someone, and you want to share your life with someone, and love, which is what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. So I really feel like your intention there is really, I can really feel it. Yeah,
it's pure and it's expansive energy. It's not codependent, or it's a really empowered. What you're underlying, I think, is you're coming from a place of wanting to share love with other people, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And I don't think that will be denied in you. I really feel that will happen. I'd love you to let us know what happens, and in going forward, just even communicating your desire with us, I think will also intensify that energy. I would just and the fact is, I believe you said you love walking too, didn't you, Deanne? Is that what you said? You love walking your dog?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that you're doing something that you love as well is an expansive outlet. So it will attract, if you're doing it, you love it, you're at a high vibration, it's going to attract a very high vibrational person to you. So I think I think keep doing what you're doing, and if there's any other fun things that you'd like to do in a social sense, I would, from a practical standpoint, I would look at doing those as well.
Yeah, and I would absolutely just, once your head might come in and worry about not finding someone or spending the rest of your life alone, when that happens, I would just not give it energy and just go back to that feeling of trusting that there is someone there and that you're not alone and that you don't have to be alone. And just trusting that and not trying to figure out how that's going to look or when it's going to happen or focus on the details, but just that feeling and that intention. And yeah, it'll be a surprise when it shows
Thank
up.
you so much.
That's all right. That's all right. Can I just add that bus?
90 seconds.
Oh, sorry, 90 seconds to go. That bus presence is still really strong. So if anybody invites you on a trip involving a bus,
Maybe that's
I
what
would
it'll be.
suggest going on that bus trip. It's not going away. It's not going away.
All right,
Cool.
Deanne.
Thanks, Deanne. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for your
Thank
call.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Ladies, thank you.
Bye. All right. Well, thank you to everyone
60 seconds.
that called in today. And yeah, we will be back the same time next week.
Yeah, and Rufus will be back with us as well, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, and don't forget you can like and follow us on our Facebook page at Soul Space Radio, and you can private message us through there or just comment on the live video if you have a question, or you can send us an email as well if you can't tune in live to the show but would still like to ask a question. It's soulspaceradio@bigpond.com.
And we'd ask our Australian audience too to join in next time. It'd be great to get, it's a global show, so it'd be great to get some more Australian input.
Absolutely.
Fantastic people.
All right, well, we will...
Been blessing. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much.
And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Facebook.
Bye.